trying to get that revenue, dropping hotlines. I was really posted on the block just like a stop sign.
Say what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. Yard down! Now, for those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, subscribe. Most importantly, hit that notification bell. That way, anytime I drop a story, you will be notified ASAP, and you can hop on it whenever you're ready. So today, I'm doing a reaction video to a channel that I ran across called, surprisingly, 30 to Life. Now, this brother right here is I believe he is a Samoan, and he ran with what's known as the other car. Now, the other car in California is basically anybody that is not, anybody that is anything other than the three major groups in the California prisons, and those groups being blacks, Hispanics, or whites. So in most cases, the other car, or the Asian car as it's called, a lot of times they don't like being called others. I've ran across some who said that. It mostly consists of Asians, whether it's Cambodians, Vietnamese, Koreans, Japanese, Chinese, Pacific Islanders, Samoans, Tongans, sometimes even Native Americans, things of that nature, right? So they all function together. They all make a car pretty much like the other cars. Their population a lot of times is much smaller in the California prisons, but I'm going to be doing a reaction to a video where he's talking about they had to remove somebody from their car. So let's get into it, man.
High Desert State Prison, B Yard, and this is my war dog. So we get word that one of the homies needs to get whacked. So what happened is that one of the OG Filipino homies, he wasn't really much of a gangster or nothing. He was on the other yard, and he was celled up with one of my Usos over there. And the Filipino homie, he was in the cell with him, and, you know, he had saw that the homie had some knives in the cell. Dude dude wasn't no gangster, like I said, so he got scared, and he went to the police, and he told on that Uso and said that he had knives in the cell. So that Uso ends up going to the back, and he's facing charges. He's back there in the hole now, and
okay, so basically, first and foremost, let me tell you guys, if you're not familiar with the term Us or Uso, I believe it means brother in Samoa. And so, yeah, he said one of the dudes was in the cell with a Us, Filipino dude, I believe he said, and I believe they call each other Bato or something like that. He noticed that his cellie had some knives, and he pointed out a good point, man. Everybody in prison is not from the gangster life. Everybody is not necessarily with violence, and even if you happen to sometimes come to jail, you may get caught up on a violent incident. You might have a drunken and driving. You might have, a manslaughter. There's numerous things that a person can be in jail for, but doesn't necessarily mean he's from the gangster type of lifestyle where he approves violence. So when you see somebody in your cell with knives, of course, and you're not from that lifestyle, first and foremost, a lot of people get spooked. Like, man, what do you have those knives for? Like I said, sometimes in prison, you see some atrocious looking knives. And so the dude is thinking, hey, man, I don't want to be connected with any of this violence. I definitely don't want the correctional officers to come up in here and assume their mind. So unfortunately, the dude made the worst mistake that he could make. He went and told, according to this brother right here, when what he should have done is he should have went and got at his homies and just requested a cell move, and they would eventually, I'm pretty sure, found him a cellmate, or someone that he could have been more comfortable with.
It's all bad. So, when shit like that happens, it hurts us because, we're a small group, and he's one of the soldiers that, we want to keep on the yard. And so what this dude did, he really hurt the car. So
yeah, what he's saying is by going to the staff and telling them that they had knives in the cell, they lost a dude that was with the business and willing to ride. And like he said, they're already a small collective in prison. And then on top of that, not to mention, they also lost the weapons that was confiscated when the police went in his cell.
a lot of the homies was pissed, and they wanted to make sure that justice was served to this dude. And so we're all standing around, we're talking about it, and of course, a lot of the Usos wanted to be the ones to give it to him, right? But there was a little Filipino cat that was there in this meeting, and he was a good homie of mine, and he was a youngster. He had made his way up to a level 4 from a level 1. This dude has been riding his whole time.
So basically what he's saying also is the dude is now on a level 4, but he started off on a level 1 prison. The way the California prison system is based on points. So they determine due to your case factors, if you've ever been to prison before, sometimes your age, sometimes the highest level of education you completed, and they give you points. The more points you get, then the higher level of security they deem that you need. So if he started off on a level 1, that means he had extremely low points. But due to getting in trouble, fighting, catching 115s, which are basically disciplinary actions, he had ran his points way up. And so now he's on a level 4.
He's standing there, he's listening to what's going on. He gets to see the paperwork, he knows what's happening. And he speaks up and he says, "Hey, I don't want nobody else touching my people. Let me do it. That's my people's. I want to handle this. I don't want nobody else doing it." So, we all decided that out of respect, we're going to allow him to do it, even though the homies on the other yard, they really wanted it to be a Oos to handle it because they wanted it done a certain way. They wanted this dude to be an example. So
it sounds like their car, like many other cars, and actually, like I explained earlier, is made up of a bunch of different factions. And so that's why he said, "Hey, I wanted to do it because the particular dude who they was going to get was Filipino." And so inside this car, like I mentioned before, they have different Asians, Cambodians, Vietnamese, Samoans or whatever. But by the dude being a Filipino, another Filipino wanted to make sure he was the one to put the work in on this dude.
The little body homie, he was just like, "Nah, man, I'm gonna take care of it." You know what I'm saying? So just set it up. So it went down. We were walking to chow. It was like breakfast time. You got to be on your game at all times, man. You can't be coming out walking tired and like that. So, but it was breakfast time. So we head into the chow hall, and the little homie makes his move, right there on the way to the chow hall. And he gets the OG pretty good. And he keeps giving them the business, even though the yard goes down. So the gunner has to, shoot off the block gun to stop it. The gunner had to shoot off the block gun to stop the whole thing. And as we're laying there and we're all proned out, the OG Filipino homie, he's leaking all over, and he's like, "Hey, Bade, who did this to me? What happened?" And the little Filipino homie was like, "I did."
So obviously, I see two things right here. Obviously, on the walk to chow, the older Filipino had no idea what was coming toward him, which lets me know even more. He definitely wasn't from that type of world. Some people go to prison, and we all know that California prisons are pretty much separated by race, and each race has similar protocols that must be followed, and so obviously this dude was so far removed from the gangster life, he didn't realize that telling on a person on one yard was going to follow him to another yard, and he was definitely going to be in trouble. So when he got blindsided by the youngster, he didn't even realize what was going on. He's walking the chow, he's minding his business, like the brother right here said, he's on the ground, he's asking him, "Hey man, what happened? Who did this?" So he didn't realize what was going on. Also, you see that the brother right here telling the story, man, in the retelling of this story, he gets choked up, man. He's emotional because honestly, we make connections with people up in there. when you're doing time with somebody, man, and you might be on the yard with this person, 2 or 3 months, maybe 2 or 3 years, even longer than that. Then all of a sudden it comes down the pipeline that this dude has messed up, and due to prison protocol, you have to do something to this dude. It's not necessarily always a good thing, man. And then one thing I can say about the other car, the Asians, all them, in my opinion, they had the most love and genuine respect for each other. I've never seen them let their homies go hungry. They would, every time they would go to the yard, and this is every Asian car that I've been around in every single prison, man. They'd go to the store, they'd pass out soups to their homies, they'd have big spreads, they would share. The Asians had no problems even sharing with the brothers, man. The Asians honestly were the most generous and the most generous car that I've seen in prison, man. They all, it's just like, it's their culture. They're very family oriented and family loving, and they take care of their own 100% without a question. And so, obviously you can see this brother right here. He shook up just thinking about, how the old man got done, I'm assuming.
Because you told. And so, that's how it goes. OG dude wasn't really a gangster. Little youngster. Came from a level 1. I'm sorry, y'all, man. It f***ed me up because... Fuck. This story f***s me up because you see what prison does to people. This little youngster didn't have much time. He then came from a level 1 and now all the way up to a level 4, and now he fighting a case. You know what I'm saying? And now he caught a case. Not only that, the OG homie, you know what I'm saying, older cat, he ain't no real gangster or nothing, you know what I mean? So I know personally, you know what I'm saying, I feel personally that he just didn't know what the he was doing. He was scared. So when he went and told the police on the homie. So it is what it is, but this is the type of life you gotta live when you're in these type of yards. So ain't no time for feelings, ain't no time for, rules are rules. You don't go by them, you're gonna get handled. And with that, y'all know what time it is. Stay the out of trouble.
So yeah, that was pretty much it, man. To me, that was interesting because even though I've done time with several different cars, several different races, you really only see their politics from afar. You don't, when something happens, unless you're real cool. I had a couple of Asians that I was cool with. When if something happened to happen later on, when me and one of my Asian partners was hitting the track, I might say, "Hey, homie, damn, what was that stuff about?" But unless you have a homie that's real cool like that, you don't know. You don't know, and so it's always interesting to find out and discover more about other people's politics inside a life that I led for so long. But like I say, just being in that lifestyle, being on the yard with these various cars and stuff, you still don't quite know what's going on with everybody's politics. So anyway, you already know what it is. It's your boy 16 to life. Resume normal program.